Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Oh my goodness. Every single week, it seems like it's something different. So, for those of you that understand technology and understand going live and stuff like that, it's crazy. So, it wouldn't allow me to go live again. So I had to rechange the stream key and put that back in. And well, anyway, I'm live. Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Happy Mother's Day weekend. It looks like we've got Mary and Kelly and Mary and Tammy and Amanda and Sharon all jumped on. And thank you for those of you that shared while you were waiting. I have a couple of things planned for you today. We are going to look at some of the hidden gems in the catalog. And as part of that, I am going to have a layout challenge for next week. So for those of you that are familiar with my challenges, I am going to make a card today. I'm just going to do one with this layout, and then I will post it on my Facebook page. And anyone who makes a card with that layout before next week Saturday will be entered into a drawing to win a $25 shopping spree with me. So you can get whatever you want for $25. So that way, if you want a stamp set, you can get a stamp set. If you prefer getting some of the new ink pads, you can get some of the new ink pads. If you see something that you like today and you want to get it, you could go ahead and put that towards it. So that is what is coming. So I wanted to start with prizes, and because I'm a couple minutes getting on, I'm a little bit late getting on. I'm gonna go ahead and get to prizes right away, and then we will get to stamping. So last week, I dove into some of the newer bundles. And so we looked at this Masterfully Created, and this was a little fun fold that we had. I think that's what it's called, Masterfully. I don't know if it's Masterfully Created. It's the bundle that I have to make 4 cards with, and I don't even know the name of it. But we made that card. Inked and tiled. I have to make 2 cards with this one. So that's this one. And this was the fun fold where Mary was my inspiration, the card she sent to me, and it kind of sets like this, and it has the greeting on the back, but it comes in your envelope like that. And then we also did this fun, kind of like a see-through with the earthen textures, where you can set this on your table and it'll stand up, and then the greeting is on the back. So receiving these for commenting last week is Sarah New. So Sarah, I will be getting these, and I'm trying to think if I saw you on here or not. I don't think I did see you on here, but I will be getting these in the mail to you, and I do have your address. And then for sharing, so if you hit share either here in YouTube or on Facebook, I put all of those names. There were quite a few of you. Thank you all for all of the shares. But receiving a pack of the new in color dots, masterfully made. Thank you, Sharon. Made, created, kind of the same thing, right? But receiving a pack of these dots is Michelle Jones. And Michelle, I have your address as well. So I will get these in the mail to you. And then for placing an order, many of you got some of the new product from the new catalog and placed some wonderful orders this week. And so receiving this little monkey stamp set, which we're going to be using this today for one of the cards, is Marla Reichman. So Marla, I will get this in the mail to you. I wanted to remind you that I do have a May special going on right now. So anyone who places an order with me in May, you will be getting an email from me that includes a PDF with 10 cards. So it has all of the dimensions as well as the directions and pictures of 10 cards using the Cheerful Daisies bundle. And you can, if you don't have that bundle, you can just at least look at the layouts or the fun folds that are in there, and you can easily recreate those using a different stamp set. So once you place an order, you should be getting an email from me, and in that email will be an attachment with the PDF. And I think what I've been using for my subject is May special or May promotion, I think is what I have. May promotion gift. And it is a PDF that you can download and you can keep, you can print it, you can use it for whatever you want. I just ask, and I usually put that in there. It's a gift to you, but it's not meant to be like if you are another demonstrator, it's not meant for you to share with the people that are on your team. It was something that was unique for a group that I'm part of that we all share. Hello, Jay. Tammy, yeah, congratulations to all of the winners. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera. I think that's all I have to say. Before I do that, I am going to show you the layout. I will be posting this picture. Put it up here. I'll be posting this picture on my Facebook page, and this is the layout that we're going to be using for the first card that we do today. And if you make a card using this layout, now it doesn't have to go, right now I have it in portrait. If you make yours in landscape and you make the little things that are on the side, it'll make more sense maybe when we go to put it together. But each of these little shaded regions, so you've got the background of the card, and then you have some other things that you have to add to it to make your card. So it'll hopefully make sense when we flip the cameras, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to turn my overhead light off, get rid of some of the shadows. And I know I have some other lights shining on me to try to brighten all of this area up. And so I know that there's a little bit of a glare on here, so I will try to move that. So hidden gems. We're going to be looking at hidden gems that we have as far as papers that are not part of suites, as well as dies that are not part of bundles. So in our catalog, we have our dies that are part of bundles listed first. And then we have our dies that are not part of bundles. Now, some of these were in bundles. So this is the He's All That, and this was in the spring catalog, and this was in our last catalog. But mixed inside of here are things that are brand new, that do not have this brilliant backgrounds. This creates a little background. I don't have that one yet, but sometimes people miss these. We're going to be using this delightful Doily hybrid today, which is not part of a suite. So if you don't look back here, you might be like, oh, I didn't even see that, because there aren't any pictures of cards. If you want to see pictures of cards that go along with some of these hidden gems, it'll tell you right on here. See these dies in use on page 97. So then you can flip to page 97 to see what that die looks like. Okay, so I'm on page 97. Right here's that little doily, and you can see it's back here. And they have it at least shown in a couple. I think it's right here is the embossing folder. And so they do give you some places to look and see them. So we're going to be looking at a couple. Here's another little hidden gem, the Gorgeous Garden, this petal patterns, patchwork pieces, the nested essentials we're going to be using today. We're going to be using the paper florist today. So those are just some hidden things that are in there that don't necessarily go with a stamp set. They stand alone and can be used. So that's what I mean by hidden gems. And for the paper, when I talk about hidden gems, we have all of these things that go with stamp sets, some of these that go with stamp sets, but we have a couple in here that do not go with a suite of product. And they kind of can be mix and matched with anything. So we're going to be looking at the Glorious Gingham today, and we're going to be looking at the Delightfully Eclectic. So that's what I mean when I say we're going to be looking at some hidden gems today. I wanted to also, since I have it sitting out here, last week I talked about the white inside of the 12 by 12 paper. I wanted to show you what I meant by that, and I thought I had a piece that I started to tear, but maybe I didn't. I thought it was one of these. Yep, right here. So here's me not understanding any of this at all. I was picturing like the color was around the outside and white was on the inside, because you really couldn't tell from the picture. Well, then I saw another demonstrator and they're like, no, the paper is made so that there's blue on both sides on the outside, but inside between those blue layers is white so that when you tear it, you get white here instead of getting blue. That's what the inside white. So I cannot wait to play with this because I think this is going to look really, really cool with that masterfully made suite of products that has kind of like a die that will tear and things like that. So, all right, our challenge card. Let me get the bucket up here. We are going to be using this delightfully, ooh, and that glare is awful. The delightfully eclectic. So this has two-sided, so these are the each side. And then, ooh, so this is one of those mega packs of designer paper. So there are 12 different sheets. Each of those are two-sided, so you have 24 different designs. So these are different than those. And you have 4 sheets of each one. So there's 12 sheets, 4 of each for 48 sheets of paper, and each one of them are two-sided. So it's an awesome pack. And there's some really, really cool floral as well as different background things in here. So we're going to be using this paper for actually 2 of our cards today. So I'm going to set that aside. We are also in this one going to be using 2 of those gems. Ooh, my battery on my computer is running low. Let me plug that in. Good thing. There we go. Sorry about that. Thought I had everything plugged in for battery, but I didn't have my computer. All right. These Paper Florist, these all make different flowers. And I'm going to show you some of the ones that I cut already. We're going to use this one. We're going to use this one. We're going to use some of these centers, and we're going to use a couple of the leaves in our card today. These nested essentials are also really cool. So we got rid of the layered circles, which everyone was upset about. We also retired the stitched rectangles that were all layered. And so this is what is one of the things that was replaced with that, which this is a really cool, this kind of reminds me of the tailored tag that we used to have, but it's in all different sizes. Okay, we've never really had a rounded rectangle that I can think of, but that's kind of cool. And then these different banners that are all different sizes are cool as well. So we're going to be using that in this card today too. All right, for our card then, here are our pieces. And here are some fun things that I cut from those dies. And we're going to be using the stamp set, Hope You Know. I loved some of these greetings on here. Again, another maybe missed gem in the catalog. Yes, Mary, the core paper that I showed you before that has the white center, you can go ahead and you can emboss that and you can see some of the white through. You can use like a nail file or some sanding paper and you can make it so that the white comes through on your embossing. I will show you some of that stuff. Maybe next week I can do a couple of cards using that as well. So this Hope You Know I felt was also kind of a little lost treasure because it doesn't become part of a bundle. It's a bunch of greetings, but I loved this sympathy greeting, and we're going to use this You Are the Sunshine That Brightens So Many of My Days, because I felt like that could be used for a thank you. It could be used for like just a note that you want to send to someone. It could also be used for a birthday, like telling someone that they brighten your day and you're celebrating their special day. I thought those were all could be used for anything. All right, so we're going to be using some Night of Navy and some fresh freesia along with white. So our card base, so this again is our layout challenge. So if you do a layout like this and post your card, you can be entered into a drawing for a $25 shopping spree. So this is 4 1/4 by 11. I scored it at 5 1/2. All right, the layers piece that I have 2 by 5 1/2. I have a 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have this DSP that's 1 5/8 by 5 1/2. So these are those 3 little layers that were in that picture that I had. And then I cut one of those nested labels, and this is going to be off to the side, and that's going to be the part that's over here. So let me pull that picture back in again real quick. Okay, so we have our card base is that light gray, and then we have those 3 layers off to the left a little bit, and then we have some sort of a focal point. So in my picture, it's round, but if you look at what I'm doing with my card, it's actually rectangle. So you can change that to be any shape that you want, okay? You can also layer it if you want to. You could make your card this way if you wanted to, and you could put those 3 strips over here and make this something over to the right of that. So you can kind of take your own liberties and make it however you want. All right, I'm going to make sure that I'm keeping up with the comments. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to do some stamping, and I'm going to put, disconnected. Let me see if I can get connected. I still don't understand why this happened, so I apologize. There we go. There we go. I'm back. Sorry about that. These are the dies. Of course, it flusters me for just a second. All right, so I'm going to pull out. I'm going to keep these inside of my little container that I have for my dies so that I can easily grab these, because I just wanted to see what some of them were. So I was just cutting. So some of the colors in here are the Bubble Bath, there was Petal Pink, there was Calypso Coral, there was Fresh Freesia, and so I just cut a whole bunch of different things with those colors. I think the ones that I'm actually going to use, and I'm going to mix this up just a little bit from what I did on, let's see, I think I'm going to use this in Fresh Freesia, and I think I'm going to use these in Petal Pink, and I think I have some tulips here in, not Petal Pink, that's Bubble Bath. No, is it Bubble Bath or is it Bubble Gum? Why can't I think? It's Bubble Bath. Oh my gosh. All these new colors. I'm going to use the tulip edge. I'm going to use a couple of these greens. I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to use one of these little ones. And I think that's about it. I think I should have one more tulip, because I think there were 3 tulips. And if I have to cut one, I have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine right here in case I lost anything. But I think I have pretty much everything. I'm just going to kind of set this over here. So if I need anything, oh, there's the other tulip. If I need anything, I can grab it. Okay, so I just cut a whole bunch of things just to kind of get a sense of what, look at how cool some of these centers are. Actually, let's, nope, I think I have what I need. We're going to just go with what I have out there and set this stuff aside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the stamping that I have to do is on this label. And I mentioned that I was going to be using that Hope You Know stamp set. And I'm just going to take and ink up this greeting. And I'm going to stamp it a little bit off to the right so that I can put some of my flowers off to the left of it. All right, and then I'm going to put some of these flowers together. I'm going to close this up, or I'm going to end up with something inside of there. So I'm going to just take my fingers and loosen up the paper a little bit on these. And this is the Bubble Bath again. And I didn't want this to go like that. I didn't like how that looked, but when I looked at it in the catalog, they had 2 of them there, but they had them just offsetting each other just a little bit not like smack dab in the middle of it, but just offsetting a little. So that's what I decided to do. So I'm going to take and just put a dab of glue here. I really liked how that looked, and so I'm going to put a dab of glue there, and then I'm just going to set this so it's not smack dab in the center, but it's just offset a little bit from the other one. Okay, and I liked how that looked as a flower. It just gave it a little bit of dimension and I thought it looked pretty cool. I'm going to use this, and I think I'm going to do the same thing, loosen up these fibers a little bit. Ooh, that's a little bit too big. Let's do something else. Let's do this one here. I think I like that. Let's go ahead and put that in there. See, I'm still playing with these. That bigger one could probably be used for these petals. Whoops. I must have had some glue on my finger. I took that right with me. These are petals that you can put together and then put that in the center. You've got all these different centers. There's so many different dies here. A total of 18 dies. And some of them have multiple things that they cut out. Okay, why did I pick Calypso Coral for the centers? Because most of the centers on my paper had Calypso Coral. Okay, this one I'm going to layer. I'm going to put a little dot here in the center. And this one I'm actually am going to put it like that so that it makes kind of like they intersect each other. But then I'm going to take the little one and I'm going to put that over the top of the bottom one just to give it a little depth. And then I'm going to take another one of the little one. It cuts all 4 of these out with one die. So I didn't have to cut each of these out separately. It cut all 4 of these pieces with just that one die. So I thought that looked kind of cool like that. Again, you can loosen up some of these fibers a little bit to make this stand up. And then just like all of the other flowers on there, the center was something with Calypso Coral. So I have this little piece that, you know what, I think I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool and pick that up with that. And stick that in there and press that down. Okay, so I've got a couple of flowers here that I'm going to be putting on this. I'm going to make these tulips as well, and we're going to use those. So I should have 1, 2, 3. The biggest one was in the center. Well, it doesn't have to be. For mine, it was in the center. Okay, and I just put it right over the top of that little bud thing. I think you could probably put it underneath it if you wanted to and have the bud kind of showing up as well. I just put mine in front. I'm going to go ahead and put a dot here, and a dot here. And I've got 1 tulip and another one. I love tulips. With having some Dutch heritage, tulips are just, have always been something that's been special in our family because of my grandparents coming from Holland. All right, so that is all we need to do for our flowers. We're going to use some of these with the greens when we go to put this together. I still have to type this up, so I'm going to save all of these dimensions. All right, so I was going to use some of the bubble bath here or the petal pink, but I thought that the white really made this pop a little bit more than that did when I put it on the fresh freesia. So there are some white flowers in there as well, so I opted to use white. Look at that plaid that you could use as well. Make sure I'm still in the camera. these are also the flowers that you see on the front cover of the catalog. And I think I saw somebody had made like a little wreath with some of them, like a wreath that had a whole bunch of paper flowers on as well. Okay, so that's just going to get layered on there. And then if I need to, I can trim a little bit here, or I can wait to put it on my Night of Navy, and if there's anything hanging off the end, at the end of it, I can cut that all together. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this a little bit to the left. I don't want it smack dab in the center, because if it was smack dab in the center, you would want to make sure it was centered, or it would look like you were trying to do center and you didn't quite hit it. So I like to keep mine off to the left so that you can really tell I wanted to put it to the left. And then my focal piece is going to be a little bit more in the open area that's there. Okay, and I don't seem to have a paper scissors, so I'm going to have to use my ribbon scissors. I don't know where my paper one went. It's probably sitting over my other workspace. Okay, so I'm just cutting that so that it is just the edge of the paper. I tend to cut these things maybe a little bit bigger than 5.5. Thanks for sharing, Mary. I like to cut these a little bit bigger than 5.5 because I can always trim something off, but if it's too short, I can't add paper to it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. And when I made my original, I put this up on dimensionals, but I think I'm going to put this down on, it got to be just a little bit too high with the dimensionals because I also had all those flowers on dimensionals. And so I think I'm just going to put this down with regular glue. And I'm going to take these tulips and we're just going to put them down with regular glue, and they're just going to go down in the corner here so that they touch that label just a little bit. And then these I'm going to put up with some dimensionals, and then in between them, you know what, I'm wondering if I should do, I had done a bigger flower on my other one, but I really like this. Wonder if I should do 2 of those. No, I think I'm just going to leave it like this. I'll fill in with some greens. I changed this up a little bit from my original because I hadn't cut this flower. And then when I did, I'm like, ooh, I kind of like how that looks. And so I think I'm going to change it. And the flower, I'll show you the card that I originally did. It has 2 of these in 2 different sizes. So I'll show you. You can see which one you like better. I'm going to put that there. And I'm just going to put this up here. And I'm going to leave those petals. I'm not putting anything on those so that they can stand up a little bit. Okay, and then we've got greens that I'm just going to kind of tuck in here a little bit. I'm going to tuck this one in up there. And we've got one that we can tuck in down here. And then we have this one that we can put, you know what, I'm going to move this one up a little bit, I think. I'm making this one a little bit on the fly. Like I said, it does not match the one that I made as my sample ahead of time, so we're going to kind of change it up here a little bit. We'll make this one a little bit closer so they overlap a little bit. And then we can make that bigger green come down that way. I think I like this one maybe better. And I'll stick that in there. I think I like how that looks. Okay, so now I always do my leaves last because I can just kind of tuck those in. I usually don't put those up on dimensionals. I usually just put either a little liquid glue or sometimes I will even just use some glue dots. But anytime I'm making some floral things and I have some leaves that I have to tuck, I always do my flowers first and then tuck my leaves in where they kind of look like they would fit. Okay, so these kind of fit here. I want to make sure I'm keeping them on the card. Okay, so there is the outside with all of those pretty flowers, a combination of the different types of flowers that are in that paper. And then for the inside, I just have a 4 by 5 1/4 and a 4 by 1/2 inch. And I'm just gonna put, like I said, you could do this as a thank you. You could do this as a birthday. You could just do a thinking of you. Whatever you would want to put on the inside of this, whoever you decide to send it to, you could add it once you know who it's going to and what the occasion is for. So I just left it blank for right now. And that is our first card. Now this is the layout challenge. So the layout is just to have the strip, and this doesn't even have to be designer paper. This could be something that you stamp the background image to. It could be something that you emboss. It doesn't have to be that this has to be designer paper. On my picture that I have, this is a circle. I chose to use a rectangle. You could use a circle. You could use one of these dies. So if you were making the card so it went this way instead, you could use a strip of paper on this side, and you could have some of these things that look like the tailored tags. You could have one of those going there. You can die cut things to put like this, or you can stamp images and cut them out, or you can just put the greeting and you don't have to put anything else on it. Okay, so this is my first card, and this is a sample of what the layout challenge is for next week. So I wanted to start with the challenge, even though it had all those pieces in it. I really don't have, I do have one card that uses a punch and doesn't use any die cuts, but otherwise I really don't have a SIP card, the stamp, ink, and paper. You do need a punch at least for one of mine. Betty, been looking at that stamp set, the one with the words. I just love the words that are in there, because so often you just, you need maybe either something for the inside of the card, or you do have like a really maybe busy paper. Like this is a really busy design of paper. And so maybe you just want to tone it down with a little bit of vellum and then a greeting over the top of it. I felt like I used just a small strip of the paper, so it wasn't the whole sheet is that way. But then these flowers, I kind of just pulled from the colors that are in there. So there is my card number 1, which is our layout challenge that features these nested essentials as well as the paper florist dies, along with this, what is it called? Delightfully eclectic paper. A couple of hidden gems that maybe you missed in the catalog as you were going through. I know for me, I like to look at all the pictures, and so I'm always looking at all the cards and saying, ooh and ah, I like those cards. And I always think like in the back, oh, all those dies I kind of saw already in the catalog, and so I don't always look that closely at them. And to be honest with you, I completely missed these paper florist ones. I did not miss these nested essentials. I saw those right away. But these paper florist ones I missed. And so on my second order, I ended up ordering those. But I'm going to just pop these in here so that the next time I go to use these, I can look to see what I have cut already so that those don't go to waste. If you're wondering where I get these little containers, I get these from Stampin' Storage. They are magnetic plates. And then they also have the plastic holders where you can then, I just print on a little label maker the names of them. And then I pop in the sheet that has the name in it because it also tells me how many dies are in there. So I can always look back at it and say, oh, I'm missing a die here. And it also has the number because most of our dies have the number somewhere on them. They used to. Maybe they don't anymore. It was funny because I had one of my customers was here for my card buffet this morning, and she's like, this is the die. I can't find what set it goes to. And it had the number on it, and I looked at the number and I typed it into Google, and it was from a dinosaur set that we had years ago, and we were able to find it. So, okay, so that's card number one. This is the one that I had made as my sample. So I used one of the bigger ones of this flower, and the smaller ones, I used a different center. I only used these leaves, and I had cut some of them off, so I didn't use the whole thing. Oh, and I forgot the gems. I forgot to add the gems. These are our 3-pack of the tinsel gems. There's a 3-pack and a 4-pack. The 3-pack, I think the colors are maybe, I wouldn't say that they're lighter because there's yellow in the 4-pack. But this has the, I think that's fresh freesia on there. So I'm just going to add some of these gems to our card just to finish it off a little bit. There we go. Look at that. That little bit of bling adds a little bit. But as I was saying, I used 2 of the same design of flowers. One was bigger and one was smaller. And I had cut some of these so that they snuck in there. These I left a little bit longer, and I kind of like how the little bit longer ones look. All right, so that is our card number 1. That is your challenge for this next week, to make a card with this layout so that you can be entered into a drawing for a $25 gift shopping spree, so that you could get, if you wanted to, put it towards one of these little gems, that these hidden wonders within the catalog that you might have missed. All right, card number 2. Oh, let me clean some of this stuff up. I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, card number 2. The little hidden gem that we're going to be using in the catalog is this glorious gingham paper. Okay, so if you like gingham, this doesn't really go with any of the bundles. What size are they? What size are what, Melanie? Hi, Sarah. Glad to catch you live. Happy Teacher Week. Oh, thank you. What size are they? Can you let me know, Melanie, what you mean by what size, what they are? And because I maybe missed a comment earlier. I'm sorry. Okay, glorious gingham is the next one, and this has blueberry bushel, it has lemon lime twist, which is what we're going to be using today, it has berry burst, it has the new pecan pie, and pretty peacock. So there's a variety of different things. The plastic envelopes. Oh, the plastic envelopes. They are, I'm guessing, for the dies. Let me measure them real quick. I think I have a ruler sitting here somewhere. Let's see, where is my ruler? I think they're about 5 by 7 maybe. Here, I'll bring this out and we can measure. Okay, so this looks like it's about 6.5. And I can link a thing to their website too. That looks like it's about 7.5. So I'm guessing this is about 7, and that's about 5 for the magnetic strips itself. And then, yeah, these are, the envelope looks, it might even be 6 by 7. Okay, so they're almost square, it looks like. Okay, so that's what those are. Whew. They also have some really tall ones, and some of my sets that are a little bit, my dies that are a little bit bigger, I have on those taller ones. Okay, glorious gingham, and we're going to be pairing this with our bright and beautiful, which I think I've used this before. This one goes with the balloon stamp set, and so we've got this side, and again, this is a 6 by 6. So there are 12 different designs, and each one of them are 2-sided. and you get 4 sheets of each, but the 4 sheets are 6 by 6 rather than 12 by 12, which that last one was. Okay, so those are the papers that we're going to be using. We're going to be using Little Monkey. Look at how cute that is. And Little Monkey has a punch that goes with it. That's also called Little Monkey. I love that Stampin' Up! Has started to label their stuff the same. So it's not like I'm looking for a different name punch and a different name stamp set. Okay, so I'm going to bring my stamps in here. This fun fold that we're going to be doing for this one is called a Dutch door. I got the Dutch, I've got the tulips from Holland, and now I'm going to do the Dutch door. So I'm going back to my Dutch heritage, I guess, a little bit today. The colors that I'm using in this are the Copper Clay and the Lemon Lime Twist. So the Lemon Lime Twist is a color that's coming back, and the Copper Clay is one of the new in colors. I didn't know that I would like this combination together, but it just kind of came together this way. All right, and I'm going to cut this for you so that you can see how it's done. But this starts at 8.5 by 5.5. I already scored it at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to walk you through cutting it, and it's going to give us a piece that we need for the front. Okay, then I have some Copper Clay, that's 4 by 5 1/4, and then some of this gingham, that's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So it's just 1/8 of an inch smaller than that Copper Clay. This is for my envelope. All right, then I have 3 pieces of the Copper Clay that measure 4 by 2.5. I have 3 pieces. 2 of them are basic white. One of them is a pattern, I don't know if you can see, that has that lemon lolly. Ooh, love that color. That is from that bright paper that I was telling you about, Bright and Beautiful. Okay, all of these measure 3 7/8 by 2 3/8. And then I have a scrap for us to stamp our monkey. And I think that is it. Let me bring my trimmer in. I'm going to set these off to the side for a little bit. And we're going to cut this first so that you can see how to make that. I have to keep all of these separate because I still have to type them all up. So in my directions, it says, and let me get, I have a mess here. All right, in my directions, it says that I am supposed to, from the top to 2 3/4 inch, I'm supposed to cut at 4 1/4 inches from the top to 2 3/4. So I'm going to at 4 1/4. So that's right on that score line. So I'm at 4 1/4. I'm going to cut from the top. So I need to bring my cutting blade up to the top. And I'm going to cut down to 2 3/4. So I have a little piece of white tape in there, so I can kind of see these a little bit better. But right there is 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut right down to that piece right there. Okay, then I'm going to cut from 2 3/4. So I'm going to go to the 2 3/4, and I'm going to cut from this 4 1/4 and cut that piece right off. Okay, and we're going to use this piece, so we don't want to go anywhere too far with that. Okay, there's our Dutch door. Wanted to cut that with you because sometimes you can read my directions and you're like, what in the world does she mean by that? And if I had it cut for you already, you wouldn't be able to see how to do that. Okay, on our scrap, and I did have, I cut myself a little, here it is, some of our new in color placemats, and I cut them in half because I like the smaller ones instead of the bigger ones. But you know what? All those lines are kind of, if that's kind of blinding, let me know. I might actually flip it over. That's maybe a little bit easier to look at. All right, on here, I am going to stamp my monkey. And I'm going to stamp the one that I can cut out with the punch. I'm also going to stamp one of the bananas that I can punch out, or punch with my punch. And then I'm going to bring in my basic white layers. And these are also going to have some things stamped on them. Okay, on the inside, I want to have a little monkey hanging down. All right, so I'm going to take this little, actually, I think I'm going to stamp my monkey first. Here he is. He's going to be swinging from the trees. But you're not going to really see the trees. You're just going to see the branches. So I'm just going to go ahead and have him swinging down. And I'm just going to add some branches around him so it looks like he's in a tree. Okay, that's going to be the inside of my card. Isn't he cute? All right, for the outside, I'm going to stamp my greeting first, so then when I stamp my branches, I can stamp them around that. So I'm going to do I'm bananas about you. And I'm going to stamp one of these branches. I think I'm going to do up this way. And then this one, I'm just going to have a little of it coming in. All right, and then I'm going to fill in between with some of these little branches that I had. So I'm going to put some of these here and there. And I might even put one over here. Okay, starting to look like a little tree. I think I'm done stamping, and we're going to color all of this. So I have a couple of blends that I brought in here. I have the Lemon Lime Twist, of course, blends. I have some copper clay. These are the crumb cake, the light and the dark. We're going to be using those. And then this is the darker lemon lolly. That's going to be for our banana. So I'm going to go ahead and color in our banana right away, because that's the only thing I need the yellow for. All right, I'm going to put that away. All of my branches are going to be done in the copper clay. I actually like I know I'm crazy. I like the bullet point better than I like the brush tip. I just feel like I have more control of staying inside of the lines with the smaller tip. So I'm just coloring in my branches here. Got the 2 branches, and then my 2 monkeys, I'm going to color those as well. Now, you could stamp on the one that you're cutting out. You could stamp on copper clay cardstock and just cut that out and not have to do the coloring. But since I was coloring the inside monkey anyway, I decided that I wanted to have them both look the same. So I decided to color both of them. That way, if you don't want to invest in the punch, I still could call this a SIP card stamp, ink and paper, because if you didn't have the punch, you could fussy cut out this monkey, and you could fussy cut out the banana. You would not really have to use the punch if you didn't want to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and color this guy in. We got one more monkey we got to color in, and then we got some leaves to color in. We've got his face and his ears that we're going to color in yet. And then we'll be ready to put this fun little card together. Okay, one more copper clay here with our swinging monkey. Swinging by to say hi, I think, is one of the things that's on there. So if you wanted to, you could put that on the inside. I decided to use the I'm bananas about you because it could be a birthday. I had one of the ladies made the card in my card buffet, and she has like a little box for each of her grandkids and for her kids. And when she makes cards at different things like the card buffet, she has like a person in mind that she's going to give it to from her family. And then she puts that card in their little box. And she said for her granddaughter, she was going to use the this little monkey one that we did. And it said, I'm bananas about you. And on the inside, she was going to put Happy Valentine's Day for her granddaughter. And it was going to be her granddaughter's Valentine's Day card. Now, I'm amazed at people like that and the organization that they have. I'm lucky if I can get Christmas cards out on time, much less start making cards for different holidays and everybody's birthday way ahead of time. I give her a lot of credit. I'm not that organized at all. I'm going to use the light lemon lime twist for the leaves. And then on the leaves that have the little veins in them, I'm going to go over that with the dark lemon lime twist. So I'm just going to add some of this green so it looks like my monkey is swinging from a tree. Does anyone else do that? Like make their cards way in advance and have them all made for like the year? And oh my gosh, I wish I was that organized. I didn't do a very good job of getting connected, but our monkey's going to cover some of that, so I'm not too worried about that. You like to have your branches kind of touching because then they look like it's real to life, but I didn't do the best job. I'm also I can't look completely over the top of things when I'm trying to line them up because otherwise you'd have my big head with my hair in the camera and you wouldn't be able to see. All right, now I'm coming back in with the dark and I'm just going to go over these just to give it a little bit of dimension. All right, we're good there. Okay, and then I still have to do the face. I'm going to take the light crumb cake, and the brush works a little bit better on my light one. And I'm going to color in his face. And then the dark crumb cake is going to be the inside of his ears. Okay, isn't he cute? I love this little monkey. All right, I'm going to put all of my blends away. I'm going to put all of my stamps away. Get that out of the way. And we're going to bring our punch in though. And we're going to punch out our little monkey. Make sure I've got him in there. Okay, I do. And then I'm going to bring this little banana. And I didn't do a very good job of looking at it ahead of time to see where I needed to stamp it. I just knew I had to stamp it far enough away so that I could, I didn't cut it off when I was stamping or punching out the monkey. Okay, we are ready now to do assembly. So I'm going to put this back on the floor to give myself a little bit of room. I need a bigger desk area, I think. Although then I would just have more room to mess it up. Okay, let's take all of these Post-it notes off of here so we can see where all of this stuff, how it all goes together. I know it seems like I'm wasting Post-it notes. I do sometimes keep some of the measurements that I use more often and I don't have to rewrite them, but I couldn't find a lot of those today. So, all right, all of these pieces are going to be layered. So this is going to be layered on our copper clay. Our copper clay is going to be going over the top of this, and our lemon lolly is going to be going on some copper clay, and this inside greeting is going to be going on copper clay. So I'm going to go ahead and layer. I am the layer queen. If you haven't watched my videos before or seen some of my cards, I layer a lot. I just think it adds a lot to the cards with the different layers. So I tend to have a little bit of a layer on everything. All right, and there is our little inside little monkey swinging from the tree. And this is going to go on there. That's going to be for the front, and we're going to put our punched monkey on there among those tree branches, and this is going to go on to the lemon lime twist. There's two different ginghams that we have. We've got like the really small, and then we've got the one that's a little bit bigger. I opted for the one on this one that was just a little bit bigger. Amanda, you layer as well. I love it. I thought it made a cute Valentine card too. Is it Jan? I thought it is thinking ahead, but it does make a really cute Valentine card. Okay, so this is going to be the inside of our card. This piece with the designer paper is going to be on our little Dutch door that we have. So see how with layering, how that copper clay just kind of carries down to the front, but then also is there when we open it. Okay, this piece right here, oops, that's not the banana that I need. No, my banana that I need is right there. This piece right here is going to go on the front. And when I put this down, what I like to do, it can only be attached to the bottom. I can't put any glue up on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my adhesive, whatever you like for adhesive. I like the liquid glue. But then I'm going to also run a little bit across the top here so that I don't go too far up here, but that I have adhesive up to where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and center that. Give that a good press. And then to get this centered so that I for sure have it where it's going to be covered by that, what I do is I center it on my layer that's there, and I have it upside down, and I put the liquid glue on that layer, and then I go ahead and I close it, because then it should be covered. Okay, so this little door or this little piece covers the inside until I open it up. All right, I decided that I thought, since this is probably going to be a kid's card for me, it would be fun to put this on a little wobble. So let me show you, for those of you who haven't seen wobbles before, they come, well, and mine are all, I put mine in a Ziploc bag because my bag has kind of ripped. But they come with, you can get these on Amazon, or you can get these, I think you can even get them at like Walmart. I don't know if they have them at Meijer or not. They're just called Action Wobbles. They're like little mini springs. And I'll show you what they do if you haven't seen these before. I just love wobbles. Let's put his banana in his hand. And I think I'm just going to put a dot of glue right on his hand. And we'll stick that banana right in his hand. Since it says, I'm bananas about you, he's got to have a banana. And you're just going to take off. There is paper covering the adhesive on these wobbles, kind of like we have with our dimensionals. And I'm just going to stick that wobble on the back of him. And then there's paper on the other end as well that has to be removed. And then you just have to stick him where you want him on the card. So I want him about right there up in the tree, so I can still see the leaves coming around. And what that wobble does is I'm able to just kind of wobble him around. Now, I did look at all of my little googly eyes because I thought maybe I would put some little googly eyes on him as well. But all the googly eyes that I had right now were big, and they weren't the really small ones like that. But how fun would that be if you were wobbling him and his eyes were also jiggling back and forth? I thought that would be really, really cute too. I'm going to go ahead and make an envelope that matches for my little monkey guy. And if you wanted to, you could stamp a little banana on the front of it as kind of a clue as to what's going to be on the inside. I put all my stamps, I set them on the floor already, but you could also, or put some of those branches on there. You wouldn't have to use designer paper like I am. You could always stamp. You don't have to decorate your envelopes. I just think the party starts right away when you get the envelope, or when you get the mail. If the envelope is decorated, it's like, ooh, I can't wait to see what's inside of here. And then you open it up and you can kind of see the fun keeps going once you open it up. I do have some gems. These are from the Adhesive Back Solid Gems, and these have the Lemon Lolly. This has the Copper Clay and the Boho Blue. So they're all, this is a new color and then some of our in colors. And I thought that I would just take some of the Copper Clay ones and just kind of stick a couple of those around. Looks like I missed a leaf here. Let me bring my marker back in. This is light. That's what I want. Did anybody else see that I missed that leaf? There we go. All right, so there is our little monkey card featuring that little hidden gem of the gingham paper and how you can use that with just about any one of the stamp sets that are in there, but how cute that looks with our little monkey. All right, so that's our card number 2. How are we doing on time? Oh, 2 o'clock. So we're about an hour in. I do have another card. I know it's a weekend, but how have I never heard of a wobble before? You haven't been living yet, I guess, Amanda. Now you have a wobble, and you have kids. Your kids would absolutely love these little wobbles. All right, so that is card number 2. I do have a third card, and since I have it ready, I'm going to go ahead and do it. If you have to take off, go ahead and take off. Come back and watch it later if you would like to. I'm going to be using the doilies, that hybrid set that's a doily, for my last card. And I'm also going to be using more of that paper, what is it called? Delightfully Eclectic paper for this card as well. All right, so this is for my envelope. So my card base for this, and I'm going to be bringing my Big Shot in or not Big Shot, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine I'm going to be bringing in for this one so that you can see how the doilies actually work. So let me show you. Actually, I'm using 2 of the hidden gems. We're going to be using, that was a little clue. We're going to be using the Delightfully Doily Hybrid. So this cuts out into a doily. This cuts out like the shape of a doily. And then there is a 3D embossing that embosses the doily. So we don't have a doily stamp, but we do have an embossing folder as well as the dies to cut like the middle of this out or to cut out this circle. Or you could make an entire background in doilies and just use the embossing folder. I'm also using these Wanted to Say. There's a happy birthday, a celebrate, You're Too Kind, Feel Better Soon, and then there's like a flower and a little bow and stars and hearts and different things that you can put with these. So again, 2 little hidden gems in back by the dies that aren't part of a bundle. These don't have stamp sets that go with them, so they're standalone dies that we're going to be using. Okay, so this is 4 1/4 by 11. I scored it at 5 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4. For those of you that know, this is one of my favorite folds. It's called the book fold or bookbinding fold. So this is going to fold back, and this is going to become like a little book that opens. All right. I have a scrap that I put some adhesive. This is basic white, and I put some of our adhesive sheets. I don't know if you can see that there's a line there. This is going to be for stamping out our happy birthday or die cutting our happy birthday. Because it is so thin, these adhesive strips will be nice because I can just pull those off and there'll be tape on the back of it. I have a scrap of, this is also the bubble bath, both of these are, and this will be for die cutting the outline of our greeting as well as some flowers that we're going to use. We're going to be using, this is from that paper, this is a 1/2 inch by 4, so that'll be for the inside of our card. I have a 4 by 4 inch piece that'll be for the inside of our card. This one happens to be 1 by 4. This is going to be for the binding of our little book. We have a 4 by 4. Look at how cool this paper is. Oh, I just love it. So it's garden green and some of the bubble bath. And then this is what we're going to cut our doily out of. This is garden green, and I have it starting at about 4 by 4. I also have a piece for our envelope because I thought it would be nice to decorate up our envelope with this as well. Or you could use, if you wanted to, the stripes, whichever one you prefer. All right, let's go ahead and bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because most of this is not going to be stamped. There's only going to be an inside greeting that we stamp. Everything else is going to be cut with our machine. And I did have to bring the big one in because the doily was just a little bit too big to pass through the little one. So let me get my plates. So I'm going to have the regular platform. This is our cutting platform. And then I do need 2 of our this isn't called the cutting one. What is this called? Cutting edge down. Platform 2, I guess. And then we have our 2 cutting plates that we have on there. I'm going to, anytime I need to cut and I need to emboss, I'm going to do the cutting first and I'm going to do the embossing second. If I do the embossing first and then I do the cutting, when I run it through my machine to do the cutting, it's going to flatten the embossing. So you always want to do the cut first if you have to do both, because then you don't like flatten what you've embossed. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out this doily. Right, and once I cut out the doily, the outside doesn't look like a doily right now. It looks like just a shape. All right, I'm going to bring in my hybrid, the embossing folder. And what you're going to want to do is to line up that doily in the center of what you just cut out. I'm trying to do this so that you don't get a glare, but that you can see it. Okay, when I have this lined up, I'm going to remove the cutting plates as well as this extra plate and put it right down on this plate. And then I'm going to use my 3D specialty plate, which is right here. It's the gray one. All of this comes with your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. You don't have to buy all of these separate. If you buy the machine, it comes with all of these plates that you will need. Used to be that you had to buy this special one for the 3D, but you don't have to. It comes with it now. Okay, so there is my doily. We're going to make this pop a little bit in a little bit, but you can see that on there already. Okay, Now we're going to do a couple more things with cutting. So I'm going to bring my cutting stuff back. So I've got my cutting plate and I've got the top here. I'm going to bring in the pink, and I can do this together. I've got the pink, or the, call it by its correct name, the bubble bath. And I have my basic white that I ended up putting the adhesive strip right up here. And I'm going to take the detailed happy birthday and I'm going to put that on the white. And I'm going to take the outline of the happy birthday and I'm going to put that on the bubble bath. I'm also going to be taking this flower because my DSP had some floral images in it, and I'm going to cut a flower. So I can cut all of this at once. So that's one nice thing about the big machine is that I can put a lot of stuff through at one time and cut it because it does have a pretty big surface there for me to cut. All right, I'm going to take this out. Notice how it says happy birthday now. We're going to be using this. Just going to set it aside. We've got two more things that I need to cut. I've got my outline. And I have this floral image. I'm going to cut two more of those flowers. So I'm going to pass this through two more times. We'll do one flower. Sometimes I don't like it to have to go all the way through. I just like to be able to quickly do it through. So I'll go through, pass it through once, and then I'll just back it up. I'll do that again here too. Get it all the way through. And then just back it up. And there's my other flower. Okay, I have all the pieces that I need right now to put together my card. So let's get rid of this big machine that's in front on my desk. I do love the little one when I can just use the little one. But sometimes when I'm making things that I have a lot of things that I have to cut, the big one is my machine of choice at that time. Okay, let's bring in our pieces. So we have this. Before I do anything, I want to bring in some garden green. We do have one thing we have to stamp. And I also said I wanted to make this doily pop a little bit. So we're going to make that pop. My garden green. Oh, you know what? I was using that, I think. Nope, I have it out right here. Good Lord. Okay, here's my inside. This is from the Happy Labels. It says, I'm so happy you were born. Isn't that a cool inside for a birthday card? So the outside is going to be that happy birthday that we stamped. So I wanted something on the inside, and I thought this was so cool. So I'm so very happy you were born. It's going to go on the inside. I don't have this on here very straight, so let's see if I can eyeball it. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Then I'm going to take a sponge dauber and I'm going to ink that up with the garden green. I'm going to, all that first stuff that comes off of it, I'm going to rub that off, and then I'm just going to rub this over my doily. Can you see the difference between where I put the ink and where I haven't put ink yet? It just makes the doily image pop. So I love running ink. You don't have to press real hard. You don't want to, get the ink where it's not raised up. So you want to just kind of lightly rub the ink over the top of that raised layer so that you can just see that embossing a little bit more. Didn't that just pop with that little bit of ink? I love doing that to embossing folders and just adding that. Okay, now we are ready to put our card together, and I am going to get rid of that because I don't want any of that ink to possibly transfer over onto my card. Let's go ahead and add, I'm going to use the little stripe on the inside. I'm just going to add a little bit down here. And then that is going to go, I don't have this closed yet because I have to run some ribbon and stuff through there yet. So I'm going to just kind of look to see where it goes by folding it. And there's the inside of our card. I'm so happy you were born. This is going to go along the little bookbinding side. Now sometimes I will even layer this, but because I was putting this green over the top, I didn't feel like it really needed to have another layer behind it. So this is going to go right there. Isn't that pretty, that striped and that floral together? Oh, just love that paper. So it really is kind of a hidden gem in the catalog because you don't see it with a stamp set or featured with a stamp set, and it doesn't go along with anything really. So, all right, then we have a ribbon combo pack that was in our holiday catalog, and it got carried over into our annual catalog. This comes with Garden Green and Real Red. I was so excited to see this carry over because I love this ribbon so much. It ties the nicest bows and knots. It's really soft. It's not like clunky, I would say, or like really like, I don't know. It's just because it's so soft, it just leaves really nice knots and bows on your card so that it doesn't add a lot of bulk. I guess that's what I'm looking for. All right, so I'm going to just tie this in a knot along the side here. Okay, and I'm going to trim, because this is ribbon, so I can use my ribbon scissors now, even though I've been cutting paper with it the whole time, because I don't know where my paper scissors is right now. All right, because this has this ribbon in here, I did want to make sure that that stays shut. Now, the liquid glue is really good, and it will stay shut. However, because there's that little bit of wiggle room while it's still drying that you have, I like to use the tear and tape here on either side of my ribbon just to make sure that this stays down. Because the tear and tape, once you stick it down, it is down for good. You can't have any mistakes. There is no wiggle room with tear and tape. So you do have to make sure that when you close your card, you are closing it straight and it's right where you want it. Okay, so this will automatically, I don't have to wait for glue to dry or anything like that. It just automatically dries on there. All right, then I'm going to the front of my card, I'm going to add my doily, and I'm going to put that up on some dimensionals. I have the, that ribbon adds a little bit. It's not as bulky as normal ribbons, but it is going to add a little bit. So to add this up on dimensionals and bring it kind of to the dimension of the ribbon or the height of the ribbon is okay. Okay, I'm going to pull these off. I can't figure out, I try using my take your pick tool and being able to go really fast like some of the demonstrators do. But for me, because I don't have fancy fingernails, it's just as fast for me just to pull it off. So I'm going to put those in the center of, or the doily in the center of my card here. All right, then I have this outline of Happy Birthday, which is in the bubble bath. And I have the words that I cut out, Happy Birthday, in white. And those are going to go, I'm just going to peel off that adhesive strip that I have on the back. I just have to get it started. Hopefully I die cut it in the right spot because I didn't have adhesive strip on the entire piece, but I was pretty careful to make sure that what's nice is the happy and the birthday, they are cut, the skinny version it's two separate words, but so you don't have to line it up. If you use that outline on the back, it has them centered where you should have it go together because that stays together. There's a little piece where the P and the H are kind of connected. So it doesn't cut that one in two different pieces, but the happy and the birthday, look at how easily that just goes on there with those adhesive strips. I don't have to worry about glue oozing out or anything like that. And that happy birthday is just going to go on there. And I'm going to take some of these mini dimensionals and I'm just going to pop a couple of them around here, middle and end, so that it stays in place. Any place where I've got a little bit of a bigger opening, I'm kind of putting a dimensional. All right, and then that's just going to go across the center of my doily. I thought that fit just perfectly. I think I have a back for my dimensional sitting here yet. There we go. Come on. There we go. All right, and then I had those 3 little flowers, and I'm actually going to put a dimensional on those because I'm going to cover up the center. So you're going to see the white through, but I am going to cover that up. So I'm just going to put one up here. Make sure I can find them all. I'm going to put one down here. And then I think I'm going to put one on the DSP itself. And it doesn't matter if your center doesn't come out. Like I said, I'm going to be putting some gems over the top of those. So these gems had like a kind of like a reddish color in the center of them. I don't even know what color that is. So we have some of our gems that were with our two-tone floral suite from our catalog. And I'm just going to take those little ones and set those in the center of each of these flowers. So it's hiding that dimensional that I had. And there, let's make ourselves a little... Oh, thanks, Tammy. Yeah, I loved this green, this garden green and the bubble bath. I think that looked really cool together. So happy birthday. I'm so happy you were born. And we can either put, I think I'm going to put the stripe. I like the floral, but I think I'm going to put the stripe just since the floral on the inside is more prompt, you know, like there's more of it. I'm going to go ahead. I don't feel like this. There we go. I'm going to put this striped on the back. And I really didn't have any stamps, so my only option if I wanted to decorate this was probably doing, or I could run the, you could also run the flap of the envelope through that embossing folder, and you could just emboss the flap if you wanted to. That's another thing you could have done. To bring in that doily part, you could have run the whole flap through the embossing folder. All right. So there is our envelope with our happy birthday. I'm so glad you were born, or so happy you were born. Get this out of here. And then we had our, whoops, let me keep this in the camera. We had our little monkey that we put on our wobblers. Amanda's going to go out and get wobblers tonight, I bet. Or look for them. I think you can get them at Walmart. I'm not positive on that. I got mine on Amazon. And then we have our challenge for next week. Because this challenge, if you do this layout, make a card with this layout and post it on Facebook. I will have a post after this that has a picture of the layout with the details of the challenge. If you post it by next week, I will put your name into a drawing to win a $25 shopping spree with me. You could get anything you want for that $25. So if there's something that you have that's in clearance and it's marked down really low and you want to get it for almost cheap, you can do that as well. So those are our 3 cards for today. I'm calling this Facebook Live my hidden gems in the catalog. So the things that you maybe didn't see right at first, but because they were maybe hidden a little bit, but that you could take a second look at. All right, let me get back to you. Okay, now I'm kind of in the dark and you have all these lights that are over here, so I look just awful. But anyway, I wanted to thank you for spending some time with me this afternoon. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thank you for all of you for your comments and for supporting my business. For those of you who are moms of children, fur babies, godmothers, whatever it might be, I wish you all a very happy Mother's Day. For those of you who Mother's Day is difficult because you've lost your mother, know that you are in my thoughts and prayers as well, because I know that day can be very difficult when someone you love isn't with you. So know that I will be remembering you in prayer tomorrow when I'm at Mass. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I hope that I've inspired you to get out there and do something creative. I hope that you will participate in the creative challenge for the chance to win a little shopping spree with me. So thank you so much. And like Betty said, happy Mother's Day to all of you. I will be back here next week. I will be at my normal time, which is 8:30 in the morning on Saturday. The week after that, I will probably start my summer schedule. And I'm looking at doing either Mondays or Tuesdays in the summer. I'm leaning towards Tuesdays, only because sometimes I extend my weekend for a long weekend and I stay at the cottage through Monday. And then I don't have to hustle home to do a Facebook Live if we're at the cottage. So, thank you all so much for joining me. And like I said, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend and that you feel appreciated for all the ways that you are a mother to other people. So thank you so much and have a great weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.